Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Baka.
What's up, guys? That's right, do it right, or else you'll get the slaps.
Yeah, we're all here to try out the slaps.
Try before you buy.
Yeah.
It's too late for you, though.
I know.
Oh, man. I know we usually start off with what's everybody been playing, but let me tell you my fun story, because mine is what have I not been playing?
Ooh.
I am heartbroken right now. You guys, I got last weekend, I got through everything else, and I am to the final boss fight, or the final boss area in Baldur's Gate 3, and they launched a patch, and they broke my stuff. They broke my stuff, y'all. So I can't finish the game until they fix it.
They may have, but like every bug, they
I'm
might have
not
broken
doing
it.
that. I'm not chancing it. I've heard enough complaint that because of who I'm romancing, it's broken some stuff in the after scenes that I'm not willing to do that boss fight more than once right now. So it is sitting to the side, and I am so sad about it because I was like, yes, I'm gonna finish it up this week and finally see what the ending is like, and then I got my next run planned already. Also, the character creation has some broken stuff in it, so I can't even start a new one right now. It's real sad faces for me right now. It really, really is. I was having such a good time, and then Larian's like, here's we got like 1,000 fixes in this patch. Here you go. Oh, by the way, we broke your games, so. You know,
it happens.
You know.
Oh, it's it for her romancing a vampire.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess so. It's like, oh, okay, well, it's one of the most popular romance options, and him and Shadowheart, and
It's one of those things
fine,
where
but we're gonna break Asterion.
it's one of those things where it's like I can fix him, and he's like, no, you can't. I'm just gonna break everything. Now you really can't fix him.
Larian's like, you can't fix him.
With everyone, so
I'm so sad.
including the Drow twins.
What about the tentacle sex? You done that one too?
I know. I couldn't do the
Oh, come on! Everybody gets
I
a
know,
pass
right?
except for that. Okay.
I did. I got the Drow
Yeah,
Twins one.
That's too hentai for me.
Yeah.
Look, you said everyone. You can't make
Yeah.
exceptions now.
Equal opportunity lover. Come on now.
One of these runs, I'll
We'll
try
let my halfling playthrough do that one.
There, that'll be a hell of a scene. You can keep that one burned into your head.
No.
No,
To
I'm
be
there with all of you.
to be completely fair, though, I didn't either. My character noped out of that because that was just too much. But my character's also not hooking up with everybody.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I mean, I'm going more with Lizelle because everyone else is like, oh, Asterion or Shadowheart. It's like, I want to do something different. Fuck the rest of them.
Hey, Lizelle is the speed run.
She was. Not anymore. That was one of the fixes they put in.
Yes.
So the sex speedrun community for the game, because that is a phrase I never thought I'd say, but it actually exists, is trying to rethink everything because now it does not work like that. So
what do you do with the old records? Like, do you just go pre-patch 2, pre-patch 3?
probably.
Yes, actually,
so
you do.
probably.
Depending on the patch and how it fixes the game, you can do like unpatched runs and things like that, or modern runs. It's there's a lot of technicalities to it.
But I'm so sad. I was like right there, and then the finish line, like the goalpost just disappeared completely for me because I don't know when they're gonna fix it. Like, I'm sure there'll be hot fixes in the near future, but I don't know when that will fix, me being able to finish the game, and so now I'm just sad about it. I'm really sad about it. The upside is, huh?
I was about to say, I also started playing around with Half Sword.
Yeah, I watched you play that. There's a demo on Steam. It's like it says it's a physics-based medieval fighter, but really it's like drunk person who doesn't know how legs work, and arms
It's
are
like-
weird, kind of swinging around fighter.
It's like Quap's version of chivalry.
Yeah, kind of.
Yes, it's just like that. It's just like that.
Yes.
I mean, you don't need strategy in that game. Like, my legs don't work properly. I'm just sitting there doing like the baby waddle as my like crab legs start running, and I've got knives in my hands. So I just go, swing, and I usually just like maul people. Like the boss guy just ran up to me, and I was just like, oh, cool, he's dead.
That's what Baka did too. I watched him do it. Like, except for Baka kept like grabbing his leg because I think he chopped off Baka's leg, and so Baka's on the ground, but he's not dead, and he's just trying to like latch on to this guy that's trying to hit him. Like, oh my god!
No, he didn't chop off my leg yet.
Was that not your leg? You were on the ground and you didn't get up, so you were just trying to hold on to him.
He's a flesh wound.
He knocked me down, and I knocked him down, and we were basically struggling on the ground against each other the whole time.
It was that is something to watch. That is
all
I can put it under is something. It is a something.
It is a something.
And it's free, so
yeah, you can enjoy the insanity for yourself if you'd like. There's no like it's so demo that it's like there's no plot. There's no real like progression or stats on anything or things like that. It's a
tech
test
demo.
Yeah.
Tech demo. It's literally just to test out the mechanics. That's it.
I can't wait to see what they do with that crab walk, you know. Just keep that in whatever you actually make, and then you're good. People play it for the moves. I sent it to Oak, though, because he needed his representation, and the main character is bald. So.
He's a Harris. I mean, I don't know what to say.
I'm trying to include you.
Is that heresy?
Get out.
Heresy, yes.
Oh, man. Since I can't play Baldur's Gate, went back to Saints Row.
How's that going?
I mean,
the expression on your face right now when I asked that, too.
It's got things in it where you're like, okay, I know that somebody who worked on this game has at least had a brush with a previous Saints Row game, maybe in passing.
Just a brush.
But they really, really, really leaned into, we want it to feel more like GTA. The map is huge, and for some parts of it, for no reason. Because, like, with Los Santos for GTA 5, you had the desert area where there was just a lot of empty desert in some places, or mountains, or whatever. That's in this, too. Like, there's just open spaces, and I wonder if it's because they leaned into the complaint from Saints Row 4, which is, why did you give us cool cars if you don't want us to drive anywhere? Because it's easier to get around with our superpowers. Well, first of all, because superpowers are fun, and if you had them, wouldn't you use them too?
Yes.
Yes. No matter what car you had, yes, flying is inherently cooler than your Lamborghini. But I guess they leaned into that and went, well, we should have a big map so we can justify them getting in a car and driving for like 10 minutes IRL time. So, there's a lot of open space. And sometimes things feel like cardboard, like the characters. They just feel kind of soulless. I'll give it to, I don't know, I haven't looked up any IMDb stuff, so I don't know who all of the voice actors are, but whoever is voice acting for Kevin, I think is doing the most heavy lifting in the story so far. Beyond my boss player and the others, the Kevin guy is definitely like committing to his role, and in a way that I can actually take Kevin seriously, even though some of the stuff that he says is kind of, how are you an adult that has survived this long? Kind of serious.
Is that really a question? Have you seen some of the people in this day and age?
I mean,
I have no idea how some of those people are adults and survive.
I'll give you that one too.
A lot of these people are adult age and still act like they're in high school, so.
Yeah, well.
Like, there's a difference between liking things that some people perceive as, kid-like, and then literally being an immature child still. Like, those are two totally separate ideologies.
With this one,
it used to be an ongoing joke that people in general, like men specifically, would not like past the age of 12. There was no maturity. Like, it was 12. That's it. That's our limit.
You've capped.
Now that's truth. Like, that is 100% true.
They definitely didn't go with. They didn't try too hard on going, these people should be like functional human beings. Maybe they have thought processes that extend past, the next 5 minutes, but they don't. It's like, I railed against this big gang. Oh no, they've retaliated. I'm so shocked. Are you?
Dumb
Are
decisions by teenagers.
They're not teenagers. They're theoretically college grads.
Those are just older teenagers.
Teen part
Like,
2.
Pretty much, you have preteens, teenagers, older teenagers, teenagers in college. You're almost out of college, but still a dumb teenager. You're out of college. You are almost on the cusp of adulthood, and then you hit 50 and you're finally an adult.
And I can't
you're like, well, shit.
decide where in the timeline of things in this whole universe it's supposed to take place. I get that it's a reboot, right? Saints Row reboot. Right. But some iteration of the actual Saints exists somewhere because there's stuff like Saints Flow, which is their energy drink. And I'm getting lore about Ultor. Like at one point my lady's like, I wonder what happened to Ultor. Well, I know what happened to Ultor. That's Saints Row 2. So Saints already existed. I don't understand. How did you come up to the same logo, the same color scheme, and the same name, and the same, like, angel picture that you want everywhere, if it's not the same? I'm just a little confused.
It's supposed to be a reboot, but they're not. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
I can't come up with a reason.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to Ultor. Well, if you played the Saints Row series, you know exactly what happened to it. The actual Saints did something about that. But sure, you do your thing. You do you. Also, I'm sad about the way the weapons work. There's not as many, like... Apparently, maybe I haven't unlocked it yet. The unlock system is not great. It does not tell you a whole lot of stuff. Apparently I can't dual-wield pistols, which makes me sad because that was one of the fun things about Saints Row's pistol mechanics, is having 2 of them. You just look like a badass. They don't have fun weapons. Like, I've got a rocket launcher thing that blows up vehicles. And there's a thing that theoretically shoots out dumbbells. But other than that, like, that's the extent of fun weapons at the moment. And none of them even have, like, fun skins. It makes me sad. It's like, do y'all not understand that some of the charm behind Saints Row as opposed to GTA was the level of silliness that you got to get away with?
I'm going to say, based on the fact that particular developer has been absorbed into the company, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely lean too far into the side that says, we want it to be more like GTA. And it's like, yeah, but there's a reason that Saints Row and GTA are apart from each other, you know, and that have sometimes 2 different audiences. It just feels like it's missing the charm that came along with it.
Yeah, what made Saints Row Saints Row. They should have gotten somebody to come be the negotiator when they were developing this game and find a happy medium, because it really feels like you could tell that there were 2 separate developing ideologies and they just put them both in the game, and it feels uncohesive, where they should have decided one path, one style story to go through. I still stand by the fact that the people that know Boss, that are their best friends, should not have been best friends.
Yeah,
like, it could have been you and one other person, maybe.
Yeah. They didn't do a lot of legwork to, like, get you into the friendships. They're like, these are your best friends. You guys are in various gangs or organizations. You all live together. Now go make your own. And it's like, but why?
You feel like... I feel like they should have put you in, like, hijinks in college together.
Or
like certain things working
like,
together, like a build up. Like, think Bully, but like for one semester of college. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. I'd like that.
College, you know what it could have been is that you relocated to this place, and to justify you all being in separate games, you don't actually know each other, but all of you are poor, so you needed a roommate situation, and that's where you start.
Boom.
But instead,
everybody
you're
keeps
all
their
best
lives
friends that
private.
have nothing in common.
Lame.
Like, you don't have to work up to that level of trust with your homies. You just already are told that you're there. And that all of you trust each other explicitly with your entire lives. And that's...
Yeah, I wouldn't have... But see, that's where I would have the problem, too, if I was just poor and had to live with somebody. Like, I would have to have some type of relationship building
Well, that's what I'm
thing.
saying, is that's what the start of the game should have been, is about them building some sort of, like, relationship with each other. Because even in, like, original Saints Row, it's not like you came in and you were automatically, like, best friends with Shandy and Johnny Gat and Pierce was there and all of these. You had this, like, building experience. Like, part of your bonding with Johnny Gat in Saints Row is that you are there for him when his girlfriend gets murdered. Like, it's... You've got stuff to bond over, and even if it is in kind of a somewhat silly way now and then and things like that, it's still actually relationship building. Versus, you guys are best friends. Now get out there and be best friends. Oh, okay. I guess. Sure. Could I at least have a wacky weapon? No, you get one pistol. Okay. Also, we're not going to show you, this is the thing I ran into today. I'm like, I'm out of ammo for everything. How do I buy ammo? Where's the button to buy? There's no button. You just walk into the store and push Y. I guess you're just supposed to know.
Wow.
I had to look
no
it up.
Prompt at all?
No. There was no button. And I was like, what? Because I kept going to different gun stores. I was like, maybe there's a different place I'm supposed to go. You should just be able to buy it at any of them. Where's the button? Where's I looked it up. I had to look up how to buy ammo.
That's just poor design.
Yeah. And I looked once I knew what the button was. I went to the store and I was like, I still don't see this button listed anywhere on the screen. How are you supposed to know? You don't.
You think that would be basics? Like when I'm
You
thinking
think that would have been a
building
tutorial? Which, to be fair, I can also understand if you skip the tutorial at one point or something popped up on your screen.
There wasn't a tutorial on how to use the stores. There was just the tutorial on, basic combat and how you jump on vehicles and stuff like that. Like, the whole tutorial area was the combat with your marshals people. And, I mean, it told you how to reload.
But I feel like basics anyway in any game should be, here's how you, like in your case, combat, this is how you use your weapon, right? This is how you move your character. This is how you move your camera. And then they give you prompts throughout the entire game to do certain things.
I mean, I guess they figured if they could get away with being like, well, you guys are already besties, don't question it, you just know. Then they go, you know how to go shopping, you just know. It's like, but I haven't played a Saints Row game in quite a while, and this definitely doesn't feel like one, and I couldn't remember.
We played it last year.
Oh, yeah, you and I did play last year, that's right. Well, that's
still
still
quite
a
a
while
while
for me, and my tiny little memory with everything else that I'm doing. So, I'm also wondering if I'm being too harsh on it, because I'm also playing a game that is very story deep alongside it with Baldur's Gate, where it's like all of this stuff is serious, and you've got these emotional attachments and this team building and all of this stuff, versus this, which it's like not. So I'm wondering
based
if that
on
makes
the
me
reviews
extra
of the
harsh.
game, based on the reviews of the game which came out before BG3, I'm gonna go, no, you're not being that harsh on it. You're being just as harsh as everybody else was on it. So it's like,
well,
you're just experiencing it because that was your thing. Like, because I told you, I was like, the reviews aren't that great. And you're like, I'm going to do it myself. I'm not going to worry about what everybody else says. I'm going to go into it. And unfortunately, because of that, it's like, oof.
I have to really hope that this is not going to be the same thing whenever Saints Row 2 comes out. Or Silent Hill 2. It's like, please don't let the next thing that I already know some about and hope for the best be also not good.
I mean, that's why you go into Silent Hill 2 expecting mediocre.
Well, Silent Hill 2 is also one that I will probably wait for it to actually launch to see how people feel about it before I give Konami money.
Just be careful about it, because they're going to try to be spoiler as shit on it. So
yeah, I know. Well, I mean,
look at the optimization styles and see, or I'll look and see what the true complaints of people are on that, because as long as the story is good and the gameplay is solid, that's pretty much the entire game.
Yeah.
True.
Well, Chicken and I and Kat also tried out the Played Up update for Halloween stuff. That game was nice to us and gave us cool cards before Halloween, and after Halloween, it's like, do you want to take this option, like this variant of the food that you're making, or do you want the people to set the tables on fire when they leave?
Okay.
I don't want either one of those. What are you doing?
Okay, so the first set of cards was like I don't remember what the option was, but it was like set fires randomly start.
Yeah. It was
And
the
I was
fire
like,
starter
oh,
card. It's like,
okay, that's
no.
not gonna happen. And then I was like, so we had to take the other one, whatever. And then the next set of cards came up, and it's like, okay, customers leave their tables on fire when they leave.
No.
Okay,
No.
still not
'Cause
taking that.
It's trick or treat cards, and we pretty much only got the trick cards.
Got
And
you.
so number 3 was you either get mandarins, which if you take the
Oranges.
mandarins, the oranges, you have to take them off of the tree, and then you have to serve them in sets of 1, 2, 3, or 4, and you don't know what they're gonna order until you take their order, so you have to be ready at all
Yeah,
times
you
to figure
can't
out like.
preemptively make some.
So
Wow.
it was either take that, which we hate, like it's awful. You don't take mandarins ever,
Yeah, unless
It
you
was either
have
that-
to.
or lose your money at the end of each day.
Yeah, so whatever
So
doesn't
you
get
can't-
spent, you don't get to keep. And it's like, but
So it was like, well, we can't fucking take that card because it's just going to completely screw us in our ability to continue. So whatever, we take that one, and we're moving along, and it's flowing pretty well. And then card number 4, we haven't overtimed yet, so we haven't even finished this franchise yet. So card number 4 decides to pop up, and it's like, well, you can either do like I forgot what it was. It was another main meal.
yeah.
And it was a complicated, like 4-step process
It
to
was
make
like
it.
roasted nuts where you have to chop up nuts
Yes.
and onions and then cook them together and then something else for them.
And
Like,
then
there
serve
was other
them.
stuff.
And we were already doing. I forgot what those. That's the chocolate one.
It was mandarin and no, that one was turkey.
Oh yeah, Mandarin and turkey. So I was like, well, shit. The other card was you can only have one table,
Ooh.
Yeah.
and I was like, holy shit. So we put all the tables together and started people coming
Oh,
in because when I saw that come up, I was like, we're actually going to fail this.
Yeah, we didn't
before
have a
we
choice.
franchise. We did the next day. We failed.
Yeah.
And it's not trying to be mean to Kat, but there was no way she was going to keep up with 4 orders of different Mandarin oranges because she had like 4, 2, 3, and 4, and she's just like,
Yeah.
there's nothing I can do to make this go any faster.
And every table was going to be 4 people. They were going to order a starter and then the main, and then one turkey serves 4 pieces, so I'd have to make another turkey for every table. I was like, oh my Jeebus, why do you hate us, Dave?
But that's why I guess like when you think of an actual kitchen, that's why you have the expediter. You have the person that's yelling to the staff what needs to happen. So you can say you're going to need this many of this, this many of this, this many of this, and you work table to table. So it's like
we only have one table, and you don't know what they're ordering until you take their order, and then the timer starts running.
Yeah.
And then you have people that are showing up outside, and the timer for their queue patience is running.
Yeah.
And we got through 3 tables before the people outside lost their patience, and we just couldn't keep up no matter what.
yeah, with one table, there's no way.
No,
It was
no.
hard. Although
Oh, it was
I mean, I guess cleanup would be great.
yeah, no shit.
we did play with a
Oh.
lot of the like the kitchen things. Usually you've got your upgrade table, so you could be like, well, I've got this this stovetop, this hob, it's gonna upgrade into a safety hob where food takes longer to cook, but it doesn't ever burn. Stuff like that is actually useful, right? Well, in
Yeah.
this one, you don't have the update table. You've got an enchanting table because it's Halloween and you're witchcrafting it. Yes, we made
Okay.
food with witchcraft. One of the cool ones was a levitation station. It's this little geode thing, and then for like 2 squares out, all the way around it in a square, you didn't have to have counters. You could just leave stuff floating in the air. It was pretty cool. Where it's like, okay, well, here's 17 cupcakes just floating around. We don't, take them as you need them. See you later. Bye. And then one of them was like I can't remember what it's called. It was like the sprinkler or something like that. But to make bread dough, you have to get the flour out and then wet it at the sink. Well, you didn't need the sink because anything that was in like a 2 square area got wet. So I was like, okay, so as soon as you take the flour out, it's a dough and you just put it in the oven. You're like, cool, okay, that's fine. And things like automatic dishwasher, where you can get like a little ghost guy that washes the dishes for you. Or the plate stack, which washes, like when you put the plate back in the stack, it washes itself.
My favorite is the Broomba. You
Yeah.
upgrade a mop, and it's just a magic broom that sweeps around your restaurant.
Yeah.
It's neat.
It was
That's
pretty
neat.
fun. It was a very cute update. Like, Plate Up is a good, fun little party game, and I would say it's probably, I like it more than I like Overcooked for that kind of party thing.
Yeah, it's more strategic. I like the ability. That one, like Overcooked, is a puzzle solving game. Like they give you the puzzle, they tell you how, like you have to figure out how to solve it. Whereas Played Up is more of a strategy based game. It's like, here is your situation, make do. Because you get to buy your upgrades, place your kitchen, place your dining room, figure out the best way that you can kind of flow it that you want. You get to make your own style. You're not solving it necessarily. You're just kind of making it work. So
Yeah.
I guess in a sense solving it, but you're not like, you're making a crossword instead of solving the crossword.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to look at it. And they give you a lot more tools to fix your own solution and things like that in Played Up as opposed to Overcooked. Overcooked's like, here is your kitchen items. This is all you will have the whole level. Whereas, the other one is like, here's what you're going to be serving. We'll give you choices between every round on randomized stuff, and you can decide how you want to fix this. Do you want to automate? Here is a conveyor. Start automating, and things like that. Which, I like it. It's a lot of fun. I also like it. That one you can actually feasibly play by yourself. I feel like Overcooked is like, it's for you to play with party. It's a party friend game, Oh, what about you, Oak? What have you been doing?
Touching grass, actually.
Oh, well, you know what? Nobody
What
asked
the
you
hell?
anyway. I'm gonna retract my question.
Yeah, definitely don't let him talk anymore.
Going outside for a little bit and
Normie, get out of
enjoy-
our chat.
I know it. I mean, I've been playing. I've played a little bit of more Mario, the new Mario game, Mario Wonder, things like that, and played a little Valheim last Sunday, and which is basically us just trying to hunt through the Mistlands and die a lot. But right now we're trying to find one of the, I can't remember what they're called for it. They're like the infected mine or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to find those so we can get materials to be able to hopefully find the next boss and move on from there. So it's progressing okay. It's just it's when you have somebody on your team that who I love the man, don't get me wrong, but it's hard of hearing. It's like we need you to do this, and then it's great comic relief though, because all of a sudden you'll just hear because he runs up on something. But we actually sailed around, and we try to stay next to the shore because like when you're doing that with everything else, you're fine unless you get like by a mosquito or something like that. You're good.
Or
but when you hit the Mistlands, anything can come at your ass. And they are going to come at you and wreck your boat, and then you're just stuck. So yeah, you have to be kind of prepared to get in and do it. But we had a good time playing it. We just gotta find a base. We found a big area of Mistlands. We mapped it out a good bit. Like basically what I did was we went down to an area that had a little bit of forest and plains in it, and then I went up in top of a mountain and mapped out as close down to the Mistlands as I could. So you have like this whole area mapped out. Skirted the whole thing, and like, okay, this is a massive area we've got to get through. And so it was, and then we're in the boat. We're in the boat at one point, and we're like, we think this is a little harbor that's here, like a little area that we'll be able to find a beach or something like that and maybe build something. As we turn, the fog goes away because No Pants and I are running with our lights to get rid of all the fog. And we're going through, and all of a sudden, all the fog clears out of the way because of the angle that we were at. And giant freaking brain sitting right over the top of us while we're on the boat. And like,
the brains are the worst.
They are.
I hate those.
So we got out of there, and then we looked, and there was one of the big soldier ants. That's what I call them, soldier ant things.
Mm-hmm.
There were two flying ones, and they were all headed towards us. I was like, get away, please, run! It was fun though. It's just the frustrating part of that one would have been if we died at that point because we were how far we were away from our main base that we were at. But we did find a couple places that I guess because of how they're located and how close to the plains, their fog doesn't work. Oh. So it's like this whole misty area that's just clear. So we could see for like far out. So I marked it on a map and I was like, we're going to come back to this area because this might be where we want to build a base because we can see, you know.
You don't have to fight to see.
Oh my God. Fighting in that game in that area sucks.
Oh, man.
So bad. Just because of you use so much energy trying to climb up things, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And it's so much climbing, like so much.
Yes. So much. But it's I'll be glad when we're done with this game and can move on to the next one. But I'm enjoying the time we're spending in it. Where I know y'all are burned out. It's where we're still enjoying it right now.
Just like change the fucking game so hard. It's like, ooh.
This is to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the same jump from the meadows to the swamp.
Yeah, I think from the dark forest to the swamp.
Swamp. Like, yeah, this is that difference. Like it's straight up, and that's what I feel like has happened here. It's just gone whoop, plains to this. It's just like
100%. Because
and I remember how dangerous the plains used to be, and now we're like dead. You know,
running through, slamming that stuff. Oh man. Yeah, like if this, because when they make the environment a hazard, it gets a whole hell of a lot rougher. Because in the swamp, you have nothing but water and it's wet all the time, so you're struggling the whole time, especially without having the iron.
Well, what I'm guessing is once you get into the infected mines or whatever they're called, I'm wondering if that's one of those is what's going to end up unlocking the feather cape. And because the feather cape would be ideal for this area, because if you fail, you don't die from falling, which is kind of the whole point, right?
If I remember properly, you need 2 machines with several different pieces from not just the mines, several other places, and then you can make the capes. Like that's why the capes are really good and very important. But to get them, you probably have to get like halfway through the Mistland stuff. Like you got to be able to get almost all the materials. You got to make this other object to harvest this other resource, and then you have to go get other resources to make this other machine so that you can use this other resource to make that, and then you have to go buy things from these other people so that you can use it in the machine. It's like, oh my God. And it's not guaranteed in every Mistlands either, so you have to just hope that your Mistlands is filled with enough things and stuff to be able to make them.
Well, that's the reason I'm glad we found a big one last week, because I'm like, at least we can explore this area. Hope to God we find what we need, and are prepared for it. But we've got to have once we find the area that we need to be in, we've got to make sure that we have all the equipment on us that we need.
Yep.
In a way back quickly in case we die.
Yep. So I always carry around the travel portal.
Well,
drop it real quick.
Well, yeah, we'll have the travel porter stuff on, but the problem you'd run into there is being in a flat enough area to be able to set one down. Because you're not just setting that portal down; you have to put the freaking bench down to be able to hold it. You know, which can be a problem. Like we ended up planting mushrooms because you can pick the mushrooms, but you can only plant them in the Mistlands. And so we ended up planting them in an area. And so now our gig with it is if we have to listen for bugs when we go to that area to be able to pick up what we've planted. And if you hear the bugs, we got to run away to be able to keep them from destroying what we've built right there. Like if like we built some stuff out of the black marble, which is like really strong shit. But you know, that when you're trying to build there, you don't start with that. So we've got a stone house that's there. Well, the only fencing we have is wood because we didn't build like wood stone walls for that. So it's like they can crash through that easy. So I think it's gonna be interesting once we get used to the Mistlands, I guess the way to say, if you can get
Yeah.
used to the Mistlands. The part of the problem I have though is I feel like there needs to be, like, as I walk through the Mistlands with the thing, it doesn't need to immediately fog behind me. I feel like there needs to be like a 5-10 seconds before it
Covers
goes back.
in.
Yeah, just so that way it gives you a little bit of a chance to survive. But we did find out, like, if you put like one of the lanterns that have the wisp in it, and you put the lantern on the ground, it only goes so high. So you have to put another one above it to go the rest of the way. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, okay. But if you put it high, it does the down low. It's weird. So it's very, very interesting techniques of trying to figure it out.
You gotta like min-max your placement.
I know. I want to clear a whole area, you know? It's like, oh, look at this land. You can't see shit, you know? It's like all you see is the blue everywhere. That's it. So, and then at night, they suck. It already sucks at night in every one of those areas, but that one's really bad. That's all I got.
Well, do you want to talk about some of the new stuff then?
Sure.
Unless anybody else has anything to add.
One of the things that I was playing falls into one of the articles.
Well, what is it? Let's talk about it.
Well, I mean, do you want to go with BlizzCon early?
Oh, well, I mean, you can save that for the end because you're going to talk about it for a while.
My point.
We watched the Five Nights at Freddy's movie this week. We can talk about that because that's it was fun. If you are familiar with the FNAF franchise, don't expect 1-to-1. I mean, they made the movie PG-13, so it's, you know, it's not the murder fest you would expect.
Gotta tap into that you know, younger audience market.
Well, to be fair, they know that most of their audience is younger. Like, a large chunk of the FNAF fandom are younger. And I mean, it's just, they're playing to what they think is their audience.
I mean, the game's rated teen, right?
I believe so. Because while it is, you know, scary game that deals with, you know, adult themes and murder and stuff like that, there's no actual on-screen bloodfests and such. It's not.
It's just heavily implied.
Yeah, it's implied.
Oh, there's a very specific scene that is heavily implied.
Well, no, I meant in the games.
Oh, yeah, not in the game.
Yeah, in the game, it's not so much explicit. And there were some very, like, close to graphic adjacent scenes, I'll say, that had this been an R-rated movie, there would have been a lot more blood, and you would have seen a lot more of the murder instead of it being cleverly disguised or implied or, you know, things like that. I'm not saying this is a Oscar-worthy, you know, game of the year, movie of the year, but it was fun. It was a fun popcorn flick.
Yeah, I will liken it to Willy's Wonderland.
It's a kid-friendly version of Willy's Wonderland.
Yes. Yeah, Willy's Wonderland. Like, this one's more story-oriented. Like, there's much more story, and I could see them laying the foundation because I've watched a few of the other Blumhouse's movies. They like to take these horror movies or these horror scenes and kind of build a deeper story in them and not just focus on the horror part, which they did with Halloween. The 2018 trilogy and whatnot, that was pretty good, and I see where they're going with this one. It's a good movie for sure. Like, it is not groundbreaking, it's nothing like that, but for a PG-13 movie, it is solid in my opinion.
It's also the second largest video game movie. I mean, Mario, it's gonna be hard to beat Mario.
Yeah,
but
they got close.
They got money on this one. Like, it's.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
There's a sequel coming.
Well, there's,
if I'm not mistaken, there's a trilogy coming.
Yeah, signed on for 3 movies, so we'll see. But yeah, there's definitely a next one. It was something.
It was solid, 100% solid. And if you like that movie, then I recommend watching Willy's Wonderland too, because that movie is just kind of like, what would a badass do in a situation like that? Well, you see.
Yeah, that one's definitely. You can tell that whoever made Willy's Wonderland had experienced the FNAF games and went, let me see if I can make a movie And it includes some game mechanics and even things like the main character that's such a badass having a cooldown timer and things like that.
Like it's
those movies are both a lot of fun in very different ways.
100%. Like they go hand in hand. Like you've got your kid friendly-ish, teen friendly style actual story, scary animatronics, and then you've got your adult version bloodbath badass style story. Like it is a perfect comparison. It feels like those two movies just they balance each other. Which one do you want? You want more story? Go with this one. Oh, you want a bloodbath? You want something to entertain? Go with this one. It's like it's perfect. You got a movie you want to watch on either side.
If you do know a lot of the Five Nights at Freddy's lore, do not go into it going, I'm going to be disappointed if this is not a one-to-one lore connection. It's not. Like Chicken says about everything. There's the movie verse and the game verse, and they did a really good job with this one, especially with the amount of nods that they gave to a lot of the community around Five Nights at Freddy's. Like Matt Pat, who does Game Theory, he basically built his channel on that. Like it really took off with Five Nights at Freddy's stuff. He got to be in the movie. Living Tombstone's song for Five Nights at Freddy's is at the end of the movie. I mean, there's just a lot of neat stuff in it for the community too, which is nice.
Oh yeah, it's a community film. It's one of those movies that it's like built for that community.
Yeah. Also, Cupcake is awesome. I'm just saying.
First of all, Cupcake stole the show. Period. Yeah. Hands down. No animatronic is as badass or terrifying as Cupcake. And I will say, like, animatronic eyes are my favorite thing in movies like that because you can't really. They don't ever speak. They just kind of give you that view with their face. So whenever they're talking, there are certain scenes, and then they'll just do that whole eye closing thing, and you're like, uh-oh. It's like, hey, I was just kidding, yo. Yeah. It's like they just do that little wince thing, and you're like, oh, I did something wrong.
It was fun though. It was fun to watch.
Yes, it is great. I want to watch it again. It's a fun movie.
It's nice to see video game adaptations finally getting some actual like good stuff happening. The Mario movie was friggin' fantastic. This movie was I've seen
30 fucking times now.
Netflix is doing some good stuff with anime stuff for like the Castlevania series and whatnot. But there's more on the way. Like there's supposed to be the Devil May Cry series and the Tomb Raider series and stuff like that. So it's nice that the games are finally getting a nice translation into other media instead of us getting 20,000 versions of the Super Mario Brothers from the 90s movie.
I thought you loved that movie.
I do. But I also love it because I watched it as a kid and I didn't have experience with the actual games, and John Leguizamo is amazing. My kid self freaking loved him in that movie, so I have a lot of side reasons to like it.
I'm about to say, I watched it as a kid too, and I was like, well, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, but you also had a Nintendo and played the games, didn't you?
I still have the fucking games.
Right, but I didn't. I didn't have any connection to the original material at all because my parents did not let us play video games back then. So, you know, I didn't have any reason to, or any, like, expectation of what it should be. Which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. Earlier I mentioned the Silent Hill thing, speaking of expectations. So there's a lot of Silent Hill stuff. Like they've got the F and Townfall, I think was the name of the other one. And then the Silent Hill Ascension is like the first thing that we're getting out of this new wave of Silent Hill content as we wait for Silent Hill 2 to come around. It's awful. It's just so bad. It's so, I'd say disappointing, but nobody's surprised with Konami. Silent Hill Ascension is, you remember that game that Oak played a while back, Until Dawn, where it's this like choose your own adventure kind of story game? Theoretically, that's what Silent Hill Ascension is supposed to be like. Sort of.
And see, that same company, the one that you're talking about, Until Dawn, which is Supermassive Games.
Yeah.
They had one called Hidden Agenda. It was on PlayStation 4. And Hidden Agenda was set up as like a couch co-op party game. Okay. Same concept as Until Dawn. You're playing through as a single player, but everybody had through the PlayStation Link or whatever it was called.
I remember that.
On your phone, you would go through and you would set it up in a competitive mode to where one person had a hidden agenda to try to make certain things happen, but everybody voted to make the decision for the end game. And so that's what this reminds me of, is the fact that people are voting. And I would think from a gaming standpoint, the next progression, think of what BG3 did, where you had the option for Twitch to be able to vote for your stuff. Same concept, right? I would have thought that'd been a natural projection, not a freaking television show. Like for TV, that it's a different medium. You know what I mean? Like it's just designed differently. And I do not understand this concept versus the video game being able to do that. But the concept, I think your explanation of it being like that choose your own adventure is exactly spot on from a gaming standpoint.
Yeah.
But it's not a game.
Well, in this one, you're watching a lot of cutscenes and then voting on what you want to happen for the character that you're watching, and then people that are watching other characters are voting for what they want to happen on their side. There's puzzles that you can play to earn points. This is basically a freemium microtransaction filled mobile game, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Because they always are constantly hounding you to buy the packs. You can accrue stuff normally by logging in, but it's going to be super negligible. You get like 1 vote for what happens, or you can buy votes, which is one of the big things that the community is just super in arms about, is like, why would you allow people to buy votes? Because it means that whoever's got the most money dictates how this story is going to go. I am not entirely sure that it's not already pre-planned and that the vote buying and everything really doesn't matter anyway.
I would not be surprised at all.
Considering how you make the content, I doubt they made that many contingency plans for different ways you could vote.
You would have to have lore of some sort. Already pre-built, right?
This thing feels incredibly predatory as far as money goes, and for it to be coming from Konami, shocking. But even the company that made it, Genvid, their CEO is kind of a douche, really. He's been nonstop on Twitter. Yes, I'm not calling it X. You can fuck off with that. Defending his game, quote unquote, project, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. It's not a good look, especially when this is like the lead-in for the Silent Hill Renaissance that they want. This is not a good look, you guys. So, people are upset. Nobody likes it. You can buy emote stickers. One of them says it's trauma because, nothing says fun like being traumatized, right?
So can anyone play this game?
Yes.
Or is it?
I think so. Okay.
I
think it's on Steam. Or not on Steam. I think it's on Twitch.
Okay.
Yeah. So
basically, you could play this as a streamer, and then your chat just pays you a bunch of money, or pays them a bunch of money to be able to change what your game is doing.
maybe.
No, I don't think it's a game you play or you host. It's a game you play with them.
Okay, so it's not anybody can play this. It's only they can play it.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you can play it on your phone, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. That's dumb.
It's an interactive series. You're basically watching their game, which, like I said, it could have worked. Like, you can make something like that work. You just coming in with your hand out going, put money in there.
Yeah. It's not a great look. It's not a great look.
No, you evolve into that kind of style after you have kind of made a base, because that's what investments are for. Like, that is why people give you money. You make game, you release game, you recoup money, you make second game, you try to increase that money. You don't go, we got money, we make game, you buy game, you buy more of game, you give us more money. All right, now you're not getting another game.
Because my thought process is okay, if you make it to where anybody can play this game, okay, sell it for $15-20, right? then somebody plays the game, and you could still do the microtransactions theoretically, but at least they're watching their favorite streamer do it. Now you've sold all these games, plus you've had that, plus you do a version of it to where I can do it at console and do the couch go up thing I was talking about with Hidden Agenda. Like, there's a different way to do this game. Like, I'm not for the microtransactions, don't get me wrong, but this just sounds like a stupid concept because it sounds like a one-time thing, a one-off. We need a little bit of money, but we're not going to go do a GoFundMe because nobody's going to put that money towards because we're a big company. So we're just going to do this.
Yeah. It's not good. But we know Konami is like that, though. Like, it's not shocking. Their main thing is making, like, pachinko machines these days. They don't care about their former glory franchises that were really good. That's just where they are. I've heard a rumor recently that Silent Hill 2, because all the pre-orders started going up this week. Like, you can pre-order it on Target and at Best Buy and things like that, but it doesn't have a release date. The rumor is the release date's going to be end of March. That's like 4 months out, 4 or 5 months out. So I'm hoping we start seeing some gameplay and some trailers and some stuff, you know? Also, I would still really like people to just shut up. Oh, James looks so sad. He's not allowed to look sad. He's supposed to be numb and in a daze. And it's like, I'm not sure if you understand that you can be in several, like, emotional states at once. I don't know if you've ever had emotions, but
you gotta understand, when people are that starved, they go through everything and complain about it. That pixel is off. That is not the proper coloring. Well, that is bad. That is the most beautiful portrait I have ever seen of him. I'm just gonna make it better. I'm gonna blow it up to 4,000.
About is the screenshot of him, like, holding a noose because in one of the puzzles you have to pull nooses to get the right order of things. Who is gonna put on a happy face while grabbing a hold of a noose that murdered someone? Like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you want him to look like, but yeah, I mean, I guess that. But, like, this is not a happy time. It's not like, and you don't stay numb to the horror forever. He's at a point in the game at that point where he's been in this, you know, craziness for a while, and he's probably starting to break down. So, how about y'all ease up? But I'm hoping. I mean, I think Bloober can probably do something with that game. I just hate that this Ascension is what we're getting to lead the parade, you know, into the new Silent Hill era. Like, please don't let it all be like this. Please don't let me be able to buy, like, a clown outfit or dumb microtransaction bullshit for Silent Hill 2. Please don't do that.
As long as they take a hard look at Resident Evil 4, that's what you want.
We'll find out. In hopefully March. But I'll wait until they're done with it and see where it lands. Please don't be bad. Please don't be bad. Oh, I guess, speaking of bad, because it is, Bungie's in trouble. You know, the Destiny 2 is not doing great. They had a bunch of layoffs. CEO made some not great statements. Some slightly tone-deaf statements about that and things like that. It's just not looking real good right now for Bungie. I was reading some of the comments on here because this is obviously a topic for Ollie to talk to us about because he still actively plays Destiny 2. But apparently, like, they're not making enough money is the argument. Our revenue is not where we had projected it to be at. And that means we have to let go of people and things are not going great. But it sounds like the way that they're making money is a season pass, but once the season is over, that content goes away. So they're asking you to pay for stuff that you can't actually, like, continue to have access to after the season. And that would make me think that that's probably why people are not paying for it, right?
Sort of. Basically, what they announced 2 years ago is because the game has gotten so massive, there is content that's going to make its way in and out.
Yeah, it rotates.
Yeah, so it rotates around. So that's most likely what's happening is something that you pay, let's say the third expansion that they had, let's say Taken King, right? Because that's one I actually know the name of. So let's say the Taken King one, that expansion from Destiny 1,
Yeah.
They might put the raid in from that or something like that. But that is something that people paid for that they can no longer access. And so on a regular basis. So I would see that would be a problem too. But their stuff has always been kind of wonky anyway to me. But my thing is they wanted the original Destiny to last 10 years.
Yeah.
This is 10 years.
Oh, but we're in Destiny 2.
Is it 10 years?
Mm-hmm. 2013.
Holy shit.
Well, time runs together real hard sometimes.
So-
Holy shit. Has it really been fucking
They wanted
10
Destiny to last 10 years, and what was 2 years, 3
We were
years before we
old.
ended up with
No,
Destiny?
wrong. September 9, 2014. They still have to last a whole
Oh,
nother year.
wow.
They still
Come
have
on,
to
buddy.
last. If they die before September 9 of next
And they're
year,
not going to last the 10 years. But to be fair, look up Destiny 2. See when that one came out.
all right, let's see.
Because I want to say it was 2 years later, like 2016 then, based on what you just said.
Okay, let's see.
Because everybody was like, you just told us it was going to last 10 years, and then you come out with Destiny 2.
Destiny did not last for 10 years.
No. Well, then they dropped the 2, right? Now it's just Destiny in general.
The first release date for Destiny 2 on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One was September 6, 2017.
Okay, so 3 years later.
So, sure didn't last for no 10 years.
No, so 3 years later they have it, right? So
Right.
you're working on your 10th year, right? So if it at some point every game is going to drop its numbers. I mean, look at WoW retail versus had the classic not come out, think of where it would be right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's just been going down ever since original Wrath Lich King. It kind of hovers, but it's still like it's never going to peak again. That's not how it works.
Right. So everything's going to drop. So that's why you're always going to get layoffs. Layoffs usually happen during the fall and the winter time for the gaming industry because a game has been released, and when a game has been released, you no longer need the people that were programming that game. You're going to need the people that are working on the game currently to maintain it, but you don't need the same size crew, right? In this case, you had people that were working on new material plus people that were working on fixing old material. And if the game's not doing that well, somebody's got to go. So you got 100 people that are dropping. I honestly think I would not be surprised if we get an announcement. Because by the way, the marathon game is going to be shit.
Oh, it's definitely gonna be.
I'm going to check that now. The fact that they decided to go with
extraction
shooter instead of going to the original marathon. Okay, and going and basing everything off of its original plot line because it's a really good fucking plot line. Why would you not? And now we can actually have cutscenes because the original marathon you had to read all the shit that was on a damn screen.
Yeah.
But they could have done so much with that instead. Extraction shooter style game, which I think is stupid. But I don't think that style game is stupid. I think that just to be clear. And it's one of those you could have made that a mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just created the game, created the universe, and then created that mode instead of. But Sony owns them, so Sony's like, do something with Marathon. We got it. Let's do it.
I guess. I mean, a game like that kind of setup allows them to do what they're doing with Destiny 2, which is season-based content. And things like that. Like, that's the thing right now. Battle passes and season passes are so huge. And I think that's all really Sony cared about is, like, make this a game that we can sell a season pass with.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which is, I mean, like, one of the comments, somebody said, Destiny's not respectful of your time, either in duration or availability. It's set up for FOMO on a weekly basis by staggering new seasonal content's progression and access to higher difficulty content that rotates. So they want to treat it like a mobile game almost, where it's like, we need to make sure that you're logging in at least once a week.
Well, I mean, MMO style games in general kind of have your daily quests and weekly.
Your engagement needs to be there, but my dailies are not gonna disappear next week if I don't do them this week, which locks me out of doing the next part of the daily quests, which is what that implies they're doing with some of it, is like, if you don't log in and you miss step A, then you can't continue on to step B in the battle pass. So, you locked yourself
Yeah,
out
you
of
can't miss
content,
it.
and that's definitely not a good way to go. Like, nobody should do that. If you're asking your player base to pay for something, you should allow them to have the chance to make it to that point. You know, instead of being like,
Didn't
well,
they announce? Because I'm noticing that the one that's coming out in February, the expansion in February is the final shape. So I'm wondering if this is the final plot line for...
I think this is. I think
guess
this
they're
is
wrapping
the
it up.
end. Yeah.
will it
Yeah,
carry
this
them
is
to the
the
year
end.
10?
Yeah. So
Guess
I mean,
we'll
if that's
find
the
out.
case too, and it's only coming out in February, that could be part of the reason that they're okay with dropping the 100 people too. Besides the
Yeah.
fact their numbers drop, could have been the people that created that trailer. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, but the I'm interested to see where this ends up going, because if Chicken said before the show that the rumor is that if this doesn't work out, if Marathon doesn't work out, then it could be the end for Bungie in general.
Yeah.
Which I think Sony needs to sell to Microsoft. I mean, that's just where I'm at. You know, give it back to Microsoft, let them boost them back up, hand Halo back over to Bungie, let them go ahead and create a good Halo game again, and then they can buy their independence again and maybe
I
build
don't think
something.
Sony will let that happen.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sony will let it die. Sony's gonna absolutely let them die.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're
Yeah.
not gonna save them.
Yeah, if it doesn't work out with the Marathon, they're gonna let them die.
Yeah, and that's gonna be unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. I mean, growing up, as a gamer and seeing these companies continue to be soaked up by these large companies, and Bungie was kind of this, and well, I say soaked instead of eaten because of the fact that they just kept getting squished back out. So it's like
This analogy
like
is
a
gross.
I know, right? So you soak them up, and they have, they were able to help them out. Gave them some money for Halo. They helped them out with that. They owned them for a little while. Bungie bought their independence. They went back out. Hey, we're independent now. Yay us!
Yeah.
Awesome sauce. And then Activision soaked them up, right? And then they bought their independence again, soaked them back out. And then Sony comes by with their big giant sponge and soaks them up too. So it's like, it's
So what you're saying is Nintendo's gonna own them next?
oh, that'd be awesome. I'd love that. I mean, maybe they'll be like, all right, we're going to let you do Marathon, and we're going to do it with Mario graphics at the end of the day.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I'm interested to see what this means for Bungie, though. I really am. I'm hoping it's good things. But wasn't it just a year ago or less than a year ago that Bungie was like pushing really hard for people to remotely work for them? Isn't that right? There was, I think
I don't know.
I feel like we covered it. That people were that was one of the things they were pushing for to work on it. So how the mighty have fallen, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you can look back and go, this and this and this probably could go differently if you would do this other thing, but
I think one of the telling things about it is that Michael Salvatore is no longer with the company, and Michael Salvatore was one of the composers for Halo, and for Destiny, and of course, there was the whole battle between what was the other composer?
Marty O'Donnell?
Hell, I don't remember.
Marty
names.
O'Donnell, yes. So Marty O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore worked together, and so like the fact that Michael Salvatore is no longer there, kind of says a lot about what's happening too.
Yeah.
So since he's been there since the Halo days.
Oh man. Well, I guess we'll see how it goes for them. I mean, I don't know if they've got like content lined up in the near future or not. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how all the rest of the stuff goes. Let's see if they make it to 10 years.
Would you say what was the date again?
September, wasn't it? 2014?
September 9, 2014.
Yeah, so they just got to
Okay.
make it to September of next year, and then they can unplug everything and be like, "We
Yep.
did it! It
They
lasted
basically
10
got
years."
11 months. That's all they got. 11
They got
months.
11 months. Yeah, 11 months.
Well, in February is their last expansion in quotation marks for this line, this 10-year plot line. So,
But you can't
figure-
access if you've missed out on any. That sucks for you. Maybe keep waiting for it to rotate
They
back
need a-
around.
they need to do like they did when they came out with Destiny 2 and come up with like a cut scene of what happened in Destiny 1. They just need to do it up to that point before the last one, so everybody knows this is what you did. While you weren't playing Destiny, this is what happened.
I think that's weird. I think it's weird that the content rotates like that. Like in World of Warcraft, because that game's been out, like retail has been out for, over a decade, coming up on, 15, 16 years?
Next year is 20 years, Grif.
Oh, next year's 20? Almost 2 decades. Just because they launch, Dragonflight doesn't mean that the content from previous expansions is gone away. You can still play through those zones and everything. They still exist. The races that you got and, all of the additional things in those areas.
They put
It
so much
doesn't go
collectibles
away.
like in the back stuff so that people can go back and explore that stuff. Like you can choose where to level up, how to level up, what you want to do. Like granted it's mostly obsolete now, but it's still sitting there.
It's still there for you to go and do. It's just with Destiny, it's like, okay, but you missed that expansion. Sucks to be you. You want to go to the website and read the lore? Like, oh, okay, cool.
And I think you have to go back and like, if you wanted to play for some of the ones that they do have, you have to still buy. Like,
Yeah,
so
the
let's say it's
DLC,
like
it
2 or 3
still
back
wants
or whatever. You still have to buy that DLC that's there. So what if some of that shit's missing? Like, what do you do with that?
One of the comments on there said that the prompts to get you to buy the DLC content, it doesn't even tell you what's in that DLC. It just tells you that you need to buy it. It's like, well, why do?
Yeah, wow.
What can I do with this?
You can get your light level up to whatever.
If that's still a thing.
And it's so sad too because the gameplay, the game mechanics. I mean, and the just are great with that game. I just wish I enjoyed it as much as I had enjoyed Halo.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, Bungie is really good, and we've said that the whole time. Bungie is good with gunplay and making the combat feel good, and the weapons feel good, and the gear look pretty cool, and things like that. They just got lost somehow. They forgot how to tell a story and keep up with that, because, no longer is it a campaign game. It's an online, always online multiplayer thing, and that's it. Like it just doesn't have the depth anymore, and losing that depth is hard. But
Definitely.
well, I guess the last big thing to talk about was that this is the weekend for BlizzCon, and it's the first BlizzCon in 4 years. So there was a lot of stuff and a lot of things and a lot's going on, and some of it was good and some of it was laughably bad. I guess we could save the World of Warcraft stuff for late. I know they announced a new hero for Overwatch with 2 more in the pipeline that are all supposed to be out early next year. The new character is playable right now, but isn't that a test run?
He's available just for this weekend, and he was available on the show floor. I can't remember his name.
It starts with an M. Magwai?
Malway?
Megan. No, it's not
Nah,
Megan.
definitely not Megan.
He's basically what you need to know about it is he's Samoan, he has 2 turrets, and he's voiced by The Rock.
Yes.
That's the high points.
I mean, you could tell, which, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you could tell that the developmental direction of this game shifted to making inclusive heroes over gameplay. Like, they're more focused on designing good, well-rounded heroes, no matter how OP they are, that rather than focusing on their game. Because
his setup, it's Malga, by the way, is his name. He's got essentially two Gatling guns, which basically you got 2 bastions attached to yourself, so you've already made one character obsolete. They do different abilities. One is just, your straight fire, Gatling fire, and then the other is that one's a rocket launcher / melee. It does both. Like, you got a heavy melee with it. His ult puts down a bubble that people can't get out of, and he essentially tethered to him while he gets a combat buff. So
they're tethered to it basically puts a giant barrier. He throws it down, and anybody stuck inside of it gets chained to the center.
And
they can still move around, but it's an arena. Well, it depends on who you get locked in there with.
Well, that's true. Good luck on that, though.
Because you get locked in there with Reaper, and as big of a target as he is, yeah, that's going to be one of those, oops, I shouldn't have trapped him.
Well, we'll see, because he also gets combat buff for that, too, so he can maybe rip a Reaper down before Reaper can do anything about it. It
Reaper's
just depends on what kind of,
and
how
can
strong.
Reaper teleport out?
One of the things that I said to Chicken when we were watching the show, because I was at work and he was at home, so we were talking on Discord about it. It's hard at this point to not do power creep in a game like that, because how do you continuously make more and more and more heroes without obsoleting some of the earlier ones, because their kits aren't going to be as strong? Because if you don't, what are you going to do? You have to make somebody that's stronger with similar options. It's a gun game, and you can only have so many gun options, essentially.
But that's why I say that they're focusing on their characters, not their game, because the gameplay is solid, and that's about all there is to it. Which I guess in a game like this, that's what you have to focus on, and the power creep of what your characters can do.
Yeah, because we exited while Ramatra was still new, and the power creep on that guy's ult is just stupid. And
I'm sure he's
it means
nerfed
that everybody else is every character past that's gonna have a higher tier. And it's, I don't know. It was one of those things where it's like, that's kind of neat, but you didn't show me anything that made me want to come back to the game.
Because they're just showing you characters, not like they announced a new game. They're redoing the entire competitive side of the game. Cool.
Because they're not going to give you the PvE that they promised you in the first place. Haha.
Yeah, and they introduced a new game mode, which I think is absolutely horrible. It's okay. The game mode that we hate, where you go to the robot and you push it back and forth.
Yeah, the push maps.
Yeah, this is like King of the Hill push style. You have 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The middle point is unlocked. You both start at the spawn point behind there. You fight, and then you control, and you push back the other team, and then you push to the next point, and then they take it back, and then you're pushed back to the center, and then you push them back, and then you push them back, and then you win.
It seemed to me
all
that
that time to think of that generic.
The push maps. So why did they capitalize on the push maps? Oh, we know you hate this. Let us see if we can change it to make you hate it slightly less.
Basically, it's like control point shit from COD. Okay.
So
it's to get COD players in, is what it sounds like to me.
I guess so, probably.
Yeah.
It just seems like you're probably not going to win over that audience, especially since you guys are the same company. So why are you trying to steal from yourself?
I don't necessarily think they're trying to steal. I think they're just trying to broaden how many people are coming in.
Make the net
if your
bigger,
player base isn't
people.
that strong to start with, bring more people in.
I mean, I guess
exactly.
I guess that's true.
And like I said, the game is solid, 100% solid. It plays well. Balance is always an issue in games like that.
Balance. The season pass issue, where the rotating store, the whole idea that everything that has a season pass or store at this point is predicated on FOMO. You better buy it now, or it's gonna cycle out in 2 days, and then it'll never see it again. Like,
I think the advantage of a particular mode like that too, bringing COD players in, is the fact that COD players don't understand, not normal COD players. I'm not talking about professional fucking COD players, okay? I'm talking about normal COD players don't understand the strategy of a game like Overwatch.
That is true.
So if they want to go in and just play the game casually, that's a good game for them to go in and just be able to shoot shit. Because they're not gonna, you're not gonna have them a whole lot of strategy in there. And if you're playing with randoms, oof, like, so that would be a better mode if that was the case. So I'm guessing that's their thought process.
Yeah. They did announce a new Is it a new season or just DLC? Like, I don't know what to do with this anymore for Diablo. I guess season?
Oh, you're
Expansion?
talking about
Expansion.
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
an
full
expansion.
full-ass expansion.
Yeah, Vessel of Hatred launching late 2024, so no actual date on it, but
That's
later
fine. They're going to
next
do
year.
a few seasons, but that one is taking us back to Crossed, which is where your last hero killed Mephisto the first time, which I assume he's sealed down there or something, or that's how you get to hell, which they might do the second expansion or whatever. But he's going back there for some reason, either to get his body back or something. So we'll see how that
Yeah, they
goes.
didn't say a lot of specifics. There's a new class that is never before seen in the Diablo universe. But
Well, fucking kudos to them.
They didn't say anything about what it is.
Nope.
So who knows?
It's so far away, so
yeah. I'm sure they'll have stuff between now and then to let you get excited about it and things.
I'm sure that's whatever we're calling the E3 area in June, whatever that thing is in June.
the summer
game
announcements.
junk, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Summer
And E3
announcements.
maybe. We don't know. They keep saying yes. We're just dropping everybody and we're going to come back. I don't see it happening.
No.
But okay, cool.
Sure.
So I'm sure in June when all the cons start, it'll be that'll be part of the Microsoft thing because they'll do like a Microsoft, Bethesda, Activision, Blizzard. It's gonna be like 3 hours long because they keep adding people.
Yeah. They also launched a new mobile game that Chicken is playing.
I can talk about the mobile game.
Yeah, go ahead.
All
Might as
right,
well.
so I've put in a ton of time into this mobile game. For anybody out there, it's like Minion Masters. For people who don't know what that is, it is a tower defense style game. And as Blizzard, they never half-ass anything. It's quite intricate. You have your little hero, or actually, you have your main tower, and then you have 6 heroes, 6 cards you could put into your deck, plus a hero card that you could put into your deck, and you slowly get resources. You can drop your little minis down the different lanes. Every map is laid up differently. There's gold that you can pick up, or chests that you can break that give you more resources, so you can drop them more. It goes by the rock paper scissors style. Melee beats casters beat range beats melee. Rock paper scissors,
Yeah.
as always with simple games like this. But as you know, like I said, every map is different. You level up through going through the zones, and you do different boss fights and all sorts of different things. There's PvP, which you can do to earn your ranks. Once you hit level 30, because that's where I was trying to get level 30, so you have to beat 30 levels of stuff. I got stuck on a couple of them because you have to grind, which I'll go into in just a second. But you unlock dungeons, which dungeons are 3-part missions, and if you fail, you lose the dungeon. You have to start over again with a new set of with your set of characters, so you don't get your rewards. There's no resource to do the missions or things like that. You can use them to buy new minis or upgrade your minis and shit like that.
He's trying to remember everything about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through everything. Like I said, each main part of the level gives you a level. Then you unlock different things as you level up. The dungeons. The quests. When you there's a quest button, you can click the quest button, and it gives you a quest for one of your minis in your deck. And doing that quest gets you energy experience for that mini. So you just have to literally grind out quests to level up your minis, just like any other game. It's a freemium game, so and I'm not buying anything, so I'm just like doing the quest. It gives you a random mission out of the ones that you've done, and then you complete it and get a bunch of experience for your character. They give you free stuff every few hours. They do certain areas which are arced infused, which you can go back and do for a bunch more money, which you use to unlock more minis. But all of that aside, the gameplay part of it is pretty solid. It's fun. It's simple. It really doesn't demand too much of your time. There's no battle pass. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's just playing the game and unlocking stuff. And I think I've hit a point to where I can't continue any further until I start grinding stuff, because this next boss thing is ridiculous.
Well, good
It's
luck
a
to you.
boomkin. It's a boomkin I'm in Darkshore, and it's a fucking boomkin named Lunar Claw. And this little asshole, like, because every boss is different, every level is different, it's laid out differently, and all the bosses do different things. So you can't just come up with a one-all strategy. This motherfucker zaps your minis as they get close, and I just can't get enough up close enough to him before he just starts ripping them apart with Moonfire. I'm like, okay, well, this sucks. I've got to either grind some or adjust strategies.
Wow.
But yeah, it's fun and it's free. I didn't think much of it, but I wanted to download it and try it out so that I could talk about it.
Wow.
It's fun. We'll see if it's my go-to toy for a little while.
They also
I do
showed
want to
off
beat it,
something for Hearthstone, but I don't remember what that was, so no big deal.
It's a new expansion. Nothing too crazy, just more stuff. It's the origin
More cards.
story of Harrison Jones.
And I forgot to mention at the start of the show, they did exactly what I expected they'd do. They were like, "Oh, here's my good buddy Phil Spencer." It's like, yeah, okay, I'm glad.
Well, of course, they had to bring him in.
They did. I forgot to mention that, and I know that we're like almost an hour and a half. I did not realize how long we've been here.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were just going on, so I was like, fuck it.
They had the lady out on the stage whose name I can't remember. I'm sorry, lady. You wore a ringleader outfit. I remember the outfit more than your name. She was like, okay, so we listened to everybody from the classic community, and we heard you. So here's Cataclysm Classic.
She said, quote, she said, we heard some of you. Like, she made it very clear when
she wasn't even sold on it.
When she stated it, you could tell that she wasn't even convinced that this was the right choice.
Yeah,
you could hear it and see in her face. She's like, we heard some of you. And after a lot of discussions and a lot of turmoil, and we decided that we're going to go with Cataclysm
Yeah, and the crowd was like,
and the crowd goes mild.
Yeah, it
because
was
they really did go mild.
Yeah, like nobody was clamoring for Cataclysm. People wanted an alternate timeline, which is what Chicken was hoping, and I was pretty sure they weren't going to do.
Oh, well, we'll get to that in a second.
But that's what they're going with is Cataclysm next
Classic.
Year. So that's coming.
No Wrath servers.
Yeah, there's
no
not
Wrath
gonna
servers.
be...
It's done.
Yeah,
they're
moving on. Which is gonna, I imagine, cut a lot of. There's already been a lot of chatter in our guild Discord about who's done after Wrath and who's not, and things like that. General consensus is it's gonna be a small group moving to Cataclysm.
Yeah, it's not a very
big group. But they did also announce Season of Discovery. They did like hardcore servers for Classic. Where it's 1 to 60, you die, you gotta start over. Well,
hold on, they're adding to that too. She announced they're gonna do a solo, or they're doing a self-find style in hardcore, which means you can't trade, you can't do the mailbox, and you can't auction house. You can only use the things that you find up to 60, and then everything opens up, which is a mode people were asking for.
But the Season of Discovery thing is big. A lot of our guild has been chattering about whether or not they're going to do this. Level cap is 25, so 1 to 25. You can do 10-man versions of existing like vanilla stuff. But the real game changer in this is that there are going to be gear pieces that will change how your class plays.
Well, there's runes that attach to your gear.
Same thing.
Your gear.
There are things that attach to your gear to change how it plays. I mean, that's what it is. That's literally what you said.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it means now that you can have, like, a mage tank, or it was mage healer, and warlock tank, and things like that, like, combinations that just do not exist in most kind of, RPGs, because it doesn't make sense to have that. But, go ahead, Chicken. You're upset with how I'm explaining it. Go for it.
It's just, you're, like, rushing through this, which I know it's already an hour and a half, so let's go ahead.
No, go for it.
No. It's fine.
He's really excited about it. I'm pretty mild about it. It's just an alternate way to play, and I get that it changes a whole bunch about it. And that's fine. It's just that I am at burnout for a while, and Chicken is not. This is exciting and new for him, which means he can play his warrior differently. Because
if I even go that route.
Yes, if he wants to, he won't be, married to the previous expectations of what warriors are capable of, or mages, or warlocks, or any of the other, vanilla classes. You get to play them totally differently, which is neat. A lot of people are very excited about it. And then they announced what sounds like the end of World of Warcraft with the World Soul Saga for retail, with a really cool cinematic that looked amazing, and then they started showing gameplay stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, that's what it actually looks like. Never mind. I'm not excited about it. The story in that game would be cool if they did the way the cinematics looked as the way the game looked, but it's not. Got to see
I don't think our computers have enough resources to run a game that looked like that.
You could get pretty close. But
I don't know. The whole beginning part of that cinematic was like, is this live action? Shit, this is like live action. And then Thrall shows up and you're like, this is not live action. Holy shit.
Yeah, seeing grizzled Anduin standing next to giant old Thrall is pretty cool. And it looked really good. And then you see the cartoony graphics for the gameplay and you're like, oh that's right. Because Blizzard keeps their graphics low so that they can have a larger player pool. You're not required to have a high-end gaming PC to play that game. But it sounds like there's going to be a trilogy to lead up to the very end of the storyline. It sounds that way. Whether that's actually the case or not, we'll see. But overall, people were kind of excited about that, I guess. The retail community seems to be pretty interested. We'll see how it goes. See how it plays out for them. Okay, well, now that I've ruined the whole vibe of the show, I'll see you guys next week.
I didn't think you ruined it. I didn't think you ruined it at all.
Oh, I definitely did.
Well, we do appreciate everybody that hangs out with us each and every week, or each and every other week, sorry, on Infinite Respawn. Make sure you hit that sub button along with that notification number. Also go to twitch.tv/EliteChicken313. Chicken, what are you currently playing through right now?
When I get time, it's going to be the DLC for Resident Evil 4.
Sweet. Hopefully, he has some time soon.
Hopefully, soon.
You're starting it. Depends on the weather. Weather likes to go 40 degrees, 50 degrees for a high to 80 degrees next week. And then we'll have a little bit of cold again. Why not? Those 40, 50 degree shifts are always amazing. That was sarcasm, folks. Sarcasm. Also, make sure you go to both twitch.tv as well as kick.com and go to MDB Oaktree. Follow me on there. I'm always on Sundays and sometimes during the week, which I just picked up Spider-Man 2. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to play it on Tuesdays and Thursdays now that soccer's over. Also gives me another game to talk about on the show. Instead of just talking about shit that I played over and over and over and over again. So,
are you gonna finish this one now?
I've finished the other two. I'm not.
Yeah,
playing.
Come on now. He's finished 3 whole games.
I finished more than that, but yes, thank you.
I don't keep track of it anymore.
Don't worry, you could probably count them on your hand. It's not too hard.
3. Like this.
Yeah. Hey, that's your whole hand.
I
Right?
can't do it because these fingers move together.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Huh. You can't do
You
this.
could do this, though.
Yeah.
Well, you got 3, or 3, or 3, or 3.
Numbers are hard.
Got it. Anyway, for Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
I'm Baka.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.